Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Okay. All right. So I am live in both Instagram and my Facebook group. This is another time that I'm trying to keep track of both the platform because I have people in both of them anyways. So for today's topic, we have a very, very interesting and very important topic for all of you, because I haven't seen a single parent, autism parent, who does not have a kid who is picky eater. Okay, so we always have picky eaters as our child, and it's really tough to make them eat healthy food. They usually have like a few 5 to 10 foods that they will eat, and it's a constant struggle to make them eat whatever you think that it's important, for the kids to eat, to be able to go on a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle and whatnot. So today's live is going to tackle all of those questions, at least most of them, as much as I can. So what is picky eating? Okay, all children in general have or show pickiness. Okay, pickiness as in like whether they like certain food or they are aversion to certain foods and whatnot. But sometimes kids on the spectrum, they show a different range of pickiness. Okay, and those kids are actually, in medical terms, sometimes we call them problem feeder. So problem feeders are those kids who has specific, really restrictive form of diet, and it's very hard to make them grow their interest in other foods, and it's also pretty hard to make them try new foods as well. Okay, so for today we will discuss about why pickiness happens and how you can help them as much as it's possible for you. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to start with is a little bit of a story, my story. So when I went to my doctor, I asked her whether, because I have been researching on my own, and since I have a medical background as in healthcare professional. I was a pharmacist for 14 years. So as a healthcare background, as a person who is healthcare professional, who loves healthy eating and who always advocates on healthy eating and whatnot, food and diet was a very important part of my lifestyle and how I raised my kids. So I asked my doctor, like, is there anything that I can do to be able to help my child, with food and diet and whatnot? You know what the doctor said? She said, as long as your child is alive, that's all that matters. As long as my child is alive, that's all that matters. So I'm like, seriously, like a doctor is saying that? Well, I kind of understand. It might not be just me thinking that way. Maybe there are other parents, other mom who feels the same way, that is it what my child is supposed to be all throughout his or her life? That my first priority would be to keep him alive. So I was like, nah, I don't have to take that BS. So I did my own stuff. I did my own research. I tried my own with everything that I did for him and whatnot. So that's what I'm trying to share with you all today, that whatever I have found to have worked with me and my clients, I would like to share with those tips and tricks and whatnot with you guys. So first of all, I would like to discuss two things. First one is about environment and why pickiness comes out. Okay, so the reason why your child has picky eating behaviors or is a super picky eater, or whatever you call him, there are two reasons for that. The first one is the internal environment, and the second one is the external environment. Okay, so what do I mean by internal environment? Internal environment is starting with the mouth until the anus. Okay, what we call that as the gut. So the situation inside of the body dictates how your child reacts towards food, how your child likes something, dislikes something, shows aversion, shows sensory issues and whatnot. That's the internal environment. And the external environment is how you put him for the food, how you prepare the food, how you are showing, and everything in between of that. So mostly when we go to our therapist or to nutritionists or dietitians who work with autism kids, what they does is mostly they focus on the external environment. Okay, they will give you tips like cut up fruits in a certain way, or change the texture, make it palatable, or try in small. All those things work, but they do not work it in a way that is really beneficial, that is giving result. Okay, do you agree with me? Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying. Okay, because first of all, as parents, we already have a lot of work to do. Okay, we already have a lot of their toilet problems, we have their sleep problems, we have their speech, communication, behaviors, tantrum, and so many other things. Okay, so along with that, now if we are also have the responsibility to make them eat, we feel like it's a never-ending fight. Okay, so yeah, Pooja says no doubt. Hey, Hifsha is also here, mashallah. Okay, thank you so much for coming in. And over at my Instagram, I have also people over there. Thank you so much for being here. I hope I will be able to help you guys today with some of my research and result-based dictations that I give you all. Okay, so what happens mostly is all the other factors, they focus on the external environment of your child. How you feed, what time you feed, whether there is a TV or not, whether the child is sitting on the chair or not. I even read people, experts, saying that just be happy that your child is sitting at the table for 5 minutes. Well, for me, I would not be happy that he's just sitting for 5 minutes. I would be happy if he eats a real nutritious food, at least 2/3 of what he's supposed to eat. Okay, let me know if that resonates with you. Okay, so what I have found is that there are 3 basic reasons for which the pickiness happens, as 2 of them is because of the internal reason, internal environment, and the 3rd one is for external environment. So 2/3 of the problem of picky eating comes from internal environment, and the other 25% comes from other 33% comes from external environment. So what we usually do is we focus on the external environment more rather than trying to work with the internal environment. That's why the pickiness is so hard to work with. It's so hard because we are not working at the root. Okay, we are not really dealing with the root cause of it. So the first reason is sensory issues. Sensory issues could be because of texture, because of taste. Some kids like creamy food, some of them like mash, some of them like to bite or chomp on their food. Some would like crunchy texture, some would like, smoother texture, just like that. So the reason why sensory issues happen is mostly because of the gut microflora inside the body. You see, if you have been in the last live, you would know that we have gut microflora. The kids, they also have it, and when their microflora is imbalanced, there is more bad bacteria than the good bacteria. Then what happens is those bad bacteria produces chemicals, they produces toxins, which creates the palate of the tongue. It coats the palate of the tongue with other chemicals that will make the child feel weird sensations when you are giving them food. Okay, so that sensory issues stemming from the gut disbalance is one of the top reason for your child's pickiness or sensory issues related to food. So what a lot of parents are told is that don't focus too much on that. Just keep trying, keep giving 15 times, 20 times, and then we are human. At some point we will be like, I have had enough try, I don't want to try anymore. Okay, let me know in the comments if you are if you're feeling that way, or one such parent that you are like, I have tried my best, and my child really resist that stuff, so I really do not want to do it anymore. So what the fact is, when you try to balance the gut flora, that's when the sensory issues will go down and it will be easier to feed your child. You see, the focus of you should be, if you really want to work with your child, the focus should be first and foremost to improve the internal condition. And now you might think, how am I going to do it? Because if the child is not eating good food, nutritious food or healthy food, how am I going to change the microflora? Well, there are a few things that you need to do. Just hang on with me. First, I will talk about the reasons, and then I will give you the solutions, okay? So hang in tight with there. The second reason, the second internal environment reason why pickiness happens is because of underdeveloped oral muscles. A lot of kids on the spectrum, they do not have proper muscle in their cheek, okay? So if you see your child not chewing properly, okay, if you see your child not chewing the food properly, or cannot open his mouth, cannot swallow properly, you cannot brush their teeth, they cannot hold things, you know, those all things, those all bits and pieces actually tells you that he has not good muscle tone, and that also occurs because of the situation that is going inside their body. So it is one of the reasons that maybe your child likes creamy food because it's easier to chew, okay? And some kids, they love crunchy food because they like it and they don't have problem with their muscle, you know, the cheek muscle, okay? So for those kids who have the oral motor dysfunction going on, they would show certain restrictiveness or aversion based on how they can move their mouth in the first place, okay? So that's another issue, which is also an internal dialogue, because if your child cannot chew, which happened with Muhammad, because Muhammad would not chew food for like 3.5 years, and then I had to always give him khichdi, mashed food, and then people who would visit me, they would say like, I'm not doing a good job, you know, they would laugh at me. I have had family friends come at me and say that I am being lazy. Because I am lazy, I am not teaching my son how to eat properly. And I thought I was lazy because I didn't know all of these things that I am sharing with you guys now. So I thought maybe I'm lazy. So what I did, I started giving him more coarser food, and he would not be able to chew them because I was told, and I thought if I give him unmashed food, like, you know, straight cut out food, then maybe he will learn to chew, okay? This concept is the same concept that the therapies use, you know, speech therapy or occupational therapy or ABA therapy. This is the same concept that they use. This concept is that you make the child do stuff by putting him in a situation, by putting him in an environment that will stimulate him or make him to want to do the stuff. But what if your child cannot do it because he or she does not have that capacity inside of her, that strength in the muscle of the mouth to be able to chew properly? So I was like, I gave him all the adult food and he couldn't chew, so he just gulped them, and then he started having serious constipation, and his tantrum was like really wild. He would bang his head. He became extremely self-harming. He even broke his hand, and he would throw my daughter from her crib because he had so much inflammation going on, because he was not being actually able to eat properly, okay, cannot chew properly. So he's just gulping his food. The food going inside his stomach is not being digested properly, so it's creating a lot of bacteria and a lot of toxins inside his body, okay? So after going through this phase, and I'm like, this is not working, that's when I had this notion, because I have been trained to look at things more intricately, because we pharmacists, if you are a pharmacist, you would know, we have been taught in a way that we need to know the disease or disorder for us to be able to create the drug for it. Okay, for a doctor, usually what they do is they learn about the disease, how it happens, why it happens, and what treatment is there. For us, we need to know what that disease is, how it happens, okay, a little bit, but mostly we focus on the drug part, the medication part, okay? But still we need to know the reason why something happens so that I am able to give the solution, okay? So that part of me, and the part that I am pretty relentless on something that I put my mind into. So that's when I did the, like matchmaking in heaven, that it's not working. Because if my child has some sort of shortcomings, okay, he's struggling with something, me putting him, let's say you want your child to learn swimming. Do you throw him in the pond just like that so that he will learn how to swim? Do you do that? I don't think so. Okay, but us, our autism community, the care providers, the therapists, and the system that we have, they teach us in a way that we need to throw the child in the pond and then let him try to swim his way back. I find this really not working properly, okay? Not something that I would like, because I'm a neurodiverse myself. I have had problem all throughout my life. So I was like, this is not the way. The proper way is to find out what is causing the problem and then find solution for that, okay? So for the internal part, that's where I started. I didn't focus on the external, how I am feeding him, what I am feeding him, stuff like that. So the first thing I started was improving his internal environment, and then I focused on how I am feeding him and whatnot, okay? So far I have talked about two of the internal environment problem, one being the sensory issues, and the second one being the underdeveloped oral muscle, okay? The third one that comes in congruent is the external environment related, okay? So that is the environment your child is in when you are feeding your child, okay? So the environment being how you as a mother, you are approaching, how you as a mother, you are approaching with your child. Maybe you are coming with a lot of stress, like, I think he will not eat this. There, you already made the decision that your child will not eat it, okay? But if you have this calmness, but firmness that I will be able to give him at least 2 bites, 2 new bites of a new food. That's it. Okay? That's when it will be actually easier for the child to read your energy, read how you are coming. And if let's say, if I am forcing something on you, will you like it? No. You will want me to coax you very sweetly, cajole you, say like, oh sweetie, please try and whatnot. You will feel like, okay, she's being so sweet, let me try. But if you come to the table like, you have to finish this bowl of whatever that you are trying to feed him, and then the child would be like, hell no, hell to the no, I am not eating that bowl of thing that you are forcing me, because I do not like to be forced. Okay, so that's one of the things that we bring on the table as an environment, how we as mom, we bring our energy towards the feeding situation going on. The more stressed, the second point is, the more stress you feel, the more your child will resist the food, okay? And then overstimulating environment. Sometimes there is a loud TV in the background, kids are watching, other kids or maybe his or her sibling moving around, running around. It's too much stimulation for him. Mealtime actually should be calm. It should be as serene as possible with everybody sitting on the table or wherever you want to feed your child. And then there is interaction, because mealtime can also be a time where you are teaching your child new stuff, okay? So how you are bringing the food also is another part of important point. And to remove or improve the distraction level, okay? So if your child is, I'm sorry. So if your child have like 20 toys around him, and then you bring the food to him, what will happen is he will be busy with the 20 toys. Okay, so when you are bringing the food to him, maybe once or twice he will be able to handle them, and then after that, just go, let me have my thing, let me play, let me enjoy my life. Okay, like that. So too much distraction or too much noise is also a reason why your child is, the environmental reason why your child is hard to be trying to for new food and whatnot. And also there is this thing that there is a notion that your child needs to sit at the table for a certain period of time. Okay, so if you are a autism mom and your child does not want to sit on the table, which I would say like 99% of our child do not want to sit on the table, which is more important for you? Answer this question. What is more important to you? Him sitting on the table and eating 2 bites, or him maybe sitting somewhere, maybe a little walking around, and you are trying to feed him, initially at least, and then your child is eating, let's say, half of the food that he is supposed to eat? Okay, I would say the second one is your better choice, because when we start working with our children, we need to feed them the best way that's possible, the most nourishing, softly as it's possible. Okay, that's the main intention, because as the internal environment keeps improving, then the pickiness, then the sensory overload, then the other problems that goes on, it will go down, and then feeding will actually be easier. With time, your child will be, inshallah, sitting at the table for a longer period of time, and it will be easier for you. But that initial few months is the little tough time when your first thought has to be, just overlook what society, what your culture, what your environment tells your child should behave. Okay, we don't have this notion that my child should sit this way, my child should hold on to the spoon and everything and whatnot, my child should be able to behave this way and that way. Don't have those kind of notions. Okay, that will not help your child. All right, so now it's time to give the information, to give you how you can let go or improve all these internal and external environment problems. Okay, so in a good world where there is help everywhere and I am there with you, what I would teach you to do is focus first on the internal environment. And that's how I work with my child and with my own clients. How do I make the pickiness kind of evaporate? I would say evaporate might be a little tough word, but how to make it so easy that mealtime does not become a hassle for you. Mealtime becomes like, okay, it's time to give him food and I know he will eat. How to do all those? Okay, the first step is not to change environment. The first step is to go for detoxification. Okay, that's what I teach my own clients. If you start by cleaning the internal environment, internal system, that's when the food interest, that's when the child's interest towards food and the sensory issues in the tongues gets reduced with time. Okay, so that's why I usually implement the detoxification part, and that part I do with some Ayurvedic tonic and some other small supplements plus inputs in that way. So what that does is, without me forcing with my child and cooking 10 different food for him to try and throw out the window, what I do is I am first focusing on the inside, first reducing the toxins that is already inside the brain and the body. Okay, and how do I do that? I use certain detoxifying agent. You can use celery juice, you can use ginger root juice and lemongrass juice. You can also use, like dark leafy greens, smoothies and things like that. You can try those as well. Okay, because green green leafy parts gives you chlorophyll and other chemicals, the good versions of the chemicals. Those acts as a detoxifying agent. Okay, those acts as a detoxifying agent for your child's internal body. So when you do the detoxification, at the same time, give your child probiotic rich food and also probiotics. So what that does is it helps in rebalancing the gut flora. It helps in reducing the bad bacteria and improving the good bacteria. So when there is more good bacteria, there is less toxin in the tongue, and then there is less sensory issue. So your child will be easy to feed. You see what I mean? So after you do the detoxification, and also you do the gut flora, the third important thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that your child is pooping regularly. Okay, so if your child has constipation, what you are always given is laxatives, and the chemical versions are actually not very good to be used for long term because they have a lot of side effects and they are not really softer on the system, on the child's system. So what I suggest is using natural based laxatives, okay, as well as giving a little bit of an enema. Okay, so oh, Elena, how are you? I'm happy that you are here. So kefir water is okay for kids or not? Yes, kefir water or kefir yogurt based that food is very important. And you can also try yogurt for your child. You can also try sauerkraut and like vegetable that has been fermented. Any fermented food is actually good for your child, and also probiotic. Okay, and the best time to give probiotic, if you are giving him any formula based probiotic, that would be early, first thing in the morning in empty stomach. Okay, that's the best way to go for it. And make sure that your child is pooping regularly. And even though you see that your child is pooping every single day, that does not mean his whole colon is being cleaned. Okay, usually what happens is your child will poop the amount that was over excess of the holding capacity of the colon. Okay, the colon is a certain diameter, it's a certain length, after which there is over, that's when the child poops. Okay, so you need to make sure that the whole colon is cleaned. And how we do that, we over here in my program, I teach my clients to do it in a very natural and safe way. We use an enema grade laxative, which is natural in nature, and that helps the child to let go of the body waste that builds up with time. And so the internal gut is now clean, and there is not extra bad bacteria growing all the time. Okay, so when you keep focusing on the internal environment, when you keep focusing on improving the internal environment rather than focusing the external reason why your child has pickiness, how you're feeding your child, how you are making him sit, how you are making him eat, those are not that important. The most important thing is to make it easier. Okay, that's how I make my I would say I have had 100%, alhamdulillah, 100% success rate of changing the picky eaters to regular eaters. Okay, and that is usually done a lot easier and a lot faster by following this 3-step detoxification. The first step is to use a detoxification, just like celery juice, cilantro juice, I said, or Ayurvedic tonic. The second one is to give a probiotic supplement and also probiotic rich food, just like kefir or yogurt or sauerkraut and things like that. And the third thing is to make sure that your child poops every single day and in big bulk amount. Okay, and you are cleaning up the whole system inside. So when you have had your child detoxified or ongoing detoxification going on, you are giving him probiotic rich food, you are giving him support in a way that he's not withholding, he's letting go of the poop, or she is letting go of the poop and everything. That's when the next parts come easier. That's when it's easier to make sure that the nourishment works out. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why I have built these 5 pillars, and you should try it that way, because that way it actually makes things easier. The first pillar is for your mindset, how you bring your energy to the table, how you cook the food, how you bring the food to the table, and how you are handling your child in general. Okay, so that's the first part. The second one is the detoxification in 3 steps that I said today, by giving a detoxifier. It can be fruit based, it can be vegetable based smoothie, or or any tonic that you want to give, and then giving the probiotics, and then making sure that your child poops properly. And after that, there is a heal and seal stage, which is like another intensive. I'll talk about it later on. And that's when actually it's easier to make your child eat properly. So a lot of mother DMs me that they really want to try to change the diet, but they're extremely scared, extremely fearful whether they will be able to implement that or not. So I would say that it's really possible if you focus on the internal problems first rather than the external problems, which you are usually taught to focus. Okay, it's like a modern way of getting through with life. The modern life, what we do is we do not seek inside of us. We are always projecting everything outside of us. We are always looking outside for solutions. We are always looking outside for the problems to just get a hang out of it. Okay, so what happens is when you come inward, when you start working on the inside, that's when the outside shifts are faster, are easier, are more effortless. Okay, and that's why those gives result also. Okay, so if you are struggling with toilet training, because this is September already, a lot of your kids are going to school, and then there is speech therapy, there is communication errors, and so many other things. I would like to say that for picky eating, this is one question I ask my clients also. I am asking you now. When your child was born, he didn't know what a certain, let's say, if your child is really like, if your child only eats French fry, chicken fry, burger, pizza, I mean, those kind of pasta, those kind of 4 or 5 food, let's say cola, tell me this. I'm not asking you this to make you feel guilty or anything. Okay, this is just one mom to another, one sister to another. Where did your child learn that? They learned it from home, right? That's where you have, brought that equation brought those food into the equation. So it's not actually a good prospect to discourage our children or yourself saying that my child doesn't eat more than 5 food. There is a reason why your child is not eating more than 5 foods. Okay, and there is a reason why your child is not eating healthier food, because since the starting he started having sensory issues. So, and then you have you or someone else in the family have had those food around. It's easier, it's fun, it's more tasty to eat those food, and then they start developing the taste for those foods, and then they become like restrictive. So they do not want to try anything else. And you, as a mom, you are already super stressed. Your child is not talking. Your child is not looking at you. Your child is not showing developmental milestones that other kids are. So he's not communicating. He cannot show what he wants. He is just like a living doll. Food will be the last thing on your mind. So I totally get you. Food will be the last thing on your mind. But honey, changing food can be the best thing that you do for your child. But obviously not just changing the diet will not give you the 100% result that you can get. But it's a very good solid foundation, because through changing the diet, you can increase the good stuff going on inside his body. You can increase the level of detoxification going inside. Okay, And you can also help him support the neurological development, because brain development needs certain chemicals, needs certain nutrients to be present inside the body to be able to develop properly. And as I said in my last live as well, that the early age is very important, because that's when the child's brain is properly functioning. I mean, that's the time when the brain is actually increasing, brain is developing in a very fast pace. Okay, so by the time your child is 3 years, he already has 85% of his brain development done, and then by the age of 5 it's usually 90%. Okay, so that's why the early time is the time for you to focus on all of this, rather than waiting for therapies, or waiting for the doctors, or waiting for grants and everything. Okay, so I have a question here. My son used to eat a lot of fruits like apples, grapes, bananas, melon, watermelon, and cucumber, carrots. But when he became 4 years old, he stopped eating healthy stuff. Okay, so he was on healthy stuff, very good, very recommendable. But the thing is, when the problem keeps going on, okay, when the imbalance keeps going on in the body, it starts affecting the brain as well. So even though your child has been eating apples and grapes, by the way, healthy food does not mean apple, grapes, bananas, those are healthy food. But apples, grapes, bananas, they are very high in sugar. So we are actually feeding our child sugar. So that sugar is causing the bad bacteria to grow more. And when there is more bad bacteria, there is more toxins in the blood, there is more toxin in the brain, which makes the brain fog and other things come on. And then slowly the tongue, sensory issues in the tongue starts distorting. Okay, so a lot of clients come to me with child who has not been good eaters, pretty much starting from the start. And then some comes to me that they had a good stuff going on, but then something changed. So when something changes, is usually maybe life change. Apart from what's going on inside the body, there are life changes that goes on. There are emotional instability going on. There may be huge amount of stress and everything in his life and whatnot, which could have led to the reaction in the body. Okay, but mostly what I'm saying is, when you want to clean his system, there are certain foods, although they are healthy for others, they're not really healthy for your child, because those are sugar rich food. So fruits, we know that is healthy, but fruits, high sugar fruits, are also those kinds that we usually avoid in the initial few months. Okay, so mostly vegetables are better, because vegetables are low sugar in nature. Vegetables are usually low carb. Okay, and banana, our kids loves banana. Why? Because banana is a probiotic. Banana is a prebiotic, and it's pretty sugar free. It's pretty sugar dense. Okay, so when your child is eating banana, you are giving him a prebiotic, which is the food of the bacteria. So if your child has a disbalance going on, higher level of bad bacteria, then those bacteria is eating on the fruit sugars. Okay, and the fruit sugars is their food. They're eating that, they're creating more toxins, and there is more neurological upheaval going on. Okay, so you have to think about those as well. And actually changing food is not that big of a thing that we think it is, because your child actually loves routine. Child on the spectrum, they love simplicity of everything. Okay, if you can make your child get used to a certain way of food, you can keep carrying that for a long period of time. For me, I took hi Fatima, Assalamu alaikum. So I took that, what I did was, for my son, for the last 2 years, I have fed him same kind of food every single day. Same kind, as in same way I prepared the food, same way I gave the food, only the ingredients would vary. For example, he eats mashed fruit, like a fruit smoothie bowl in the morning. only based on the season, the fruits change. Those are low sugar fruits. I still give him low sugar fruits a lot, as much as possible. Okay, so I start with that, and then his hodgepodge or khichdi type of the lunch that I used to give him, and then the same for the dinner and some sort of snack in between. Okay, so kids on the spectrum actually like simple food. They actually like same repetition food. That's why when they are hooked in pizza, they want pizza all the time. When they are hooked in burger, they are, they want burger all the time, because they like the sameness. They like the stability. They don't like extra sensory input, because if you are not a neurodiverse, you will not actually understand the depth of what sensory inputs are to them. You might think like, I am trying to give him a lot of healthier food. Why won't he take it? Because that is creating some issues inside of him. And me, I do not like talking about wishy-washy things that does not give result. I am talking about things that does give result when you focus on the root cause, when you deal with the root cause, when you work on the internal environment first. That's when you will see results in the outside environment for you and your child. Okay, so the longer this cycle keeps going on, the harder it will be to change his diet. So if your child is younger now, this is the best time. And if your child is a lot older, it's still the best time, because if your child is 9 years now, he's not 27. If your child is 3 years now, he's not 9 yet. You get my point? So wherever you are, wherever your child is, meet him at that point of time and then start working on that. The faster you start working on it, the better will be the result. And things does not have to be so tough. Things does not have to be complicated. Okay, you do not have to cook 10 different type of thing. You actually need to cook a few different things. Just you need to know your child's taste, whether he likes Indian, whether he likes Chinese, whether he likes Italian, the taste of it. And then you just have to mimic those tastes with the food that does not have grains, or that has very low sugar fruits and vegetables and things like that. Okay, and it does not have to be all throughout the life. It has to be the first few months is when the thing is a little tough, but that sacrifice is well worth than having an adult child who is still like a baby. Okay, so the third point that I want to talk about was, if you think that it's easier for me to go to therapies rather than just try stuff inside home, because it may sound a lot of work for you and whatnot, but therapies focus on the external environment. They will teach you a few things. That's like a training ground. I don't use therapy like speech therapy or occupational therapy or whatever we are saying. Those are not actually therapy. For something to be called therapy means it has to work from the inside. It has to give you therapeutic alternative. It has to give you shifa. Okay, so if you are just training the child by throwing him in the water, that you should learn to swim because I have thrown you in the water, and you are let's say you are a dolphin, and you are supposed to have mini dolphin who would learn to swim right after birth, but your dolphin has autism and your dolphin does not know how to swim. So you as a mother, you are told by other dolphins that you just throw him in the ocean and he will start learning to swim. That's not going to work, because our little dolphins, they have some problem inside of them. They have their fins attached together. We need to free those fins out so that they automatically, naturally can grow themselves. They can start swimming and do everything that a dolphin does. Okay, so I have another one, super motivation point for everyone, that better now than never. I mean, better, it's never too late. Yes, Pooja, you are so right, and I'm so thankful to have her over here as well in the program, because the earlier you start is the better result you get. Okay, and it's not about trying to change our neurodiverse kids into neurotypicals. I would tell it every single time. Our work towards the child is to give him wings. It's to give him a place, a foundation from where he can fly, he can swim, he can run, he can do everything that is his birthright. That is his human right. Okay? And there are lots of autistic adults and a lot of parents who are being told that you should accept your child the way he or she is. To some extent, I agree. I should accept my child. I should, and I would. I definitely want, and it's the most important thing, that even I teach that to my clients. The first thing that you have to do is accept your child's neurodiversity. We are not changing the child's neurodiversity. We are just improving his stage. We are not accepting the struggles. We are just accepting the neurodiversity. What we are doing is, when your child is not being able to communicate with the world, is not able to go to school, function there properly, cannot be potty trained, cannot be fed properly, the life of that child becomes very narrow. Now he may be 3 years, 5 years, and you are thinking, oh, okay, it will work on. But I highly recommend you to go to the big Facebook groups, where there are like 37, 80,000 people over there. So ask them, see over there how their children are going with all these things. Just today I asked in two of the groups that, how many iPads did you guys buy? And I would share that in some of the posts just after this. That's interesting. I have had so far like hundreds of reply from moms. A minimum of, like, I would say 90% of the parents say they have had multiple gadgets, multiple iPads, and each iPad is like $500 per iPad. So in the lifetime, if your child breaks like 4 or 5 iPads, you have already invested 2,500, which doesn't have any return. Okay, but we humans, we have a notion. The way we see things is we just look at the short-term life set. You have to look at the longer term. You have to think in the long term. After 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, where my child is going to be. Okay, and how much am I going to spend just by keeping the problem going on? Okay, how much do you want to keep on struggling because you do not want to give yourself the permission to feel the fear? It's easy to just stay where your child is because it's easy to handle him. But trust me, with autism, if it's going unhelped, things does not improve. They escalate. Okay, for very few kids, they automatically recover or they become high functioning. That's very rare. Most of the percentage that we have with us is the situation escalates, increases, the problem increases, the tantrum, the speech problems, because as the child grows older, he sees the world a little differently. There are so many other people interacting with the child, and then he doesn't know how to interact with them. That makes him feel less of himself. That makes him feel irritated. That makes him feel short. That's why he shows temper. That's why there is more meltdown, because of how he feels. Okay, so let's not just wait for a long time, and just try as early as possible so that we can help our child to the best of our abilities. So I have another question. Walaikum assalam. How a child that on eats plain spaghetti, how do hide new food with this type of children? Oh, okay. So I think you tried to say that your child is only eating plain spaghetti and how to hide new food. Okay, two things. First of all, that's what I was telling you, that your child eats only plain spaghetti, and when you give vegetables, he does not like it. not because he wants to make your life hard. He doesn't want to make your life hard. He doesn't want to make his life hard. His tongue does not like the taste of vegetables. Okay? No amount of short-term external environment can really make him into a good eater. The first place that you have to start is by healing the gut, is by improving the gut microbiome, by using the three-step formula that I taught you today, by making sure there is a detoxification going on, that your child is pooping properly, okay, and then you are giving him some sort of what was the other point, gut flora, microbes like probiotics and things like that. Okay, so when you are giving your child detoxifier, when you are giving him a good probiotic based on the age and the need, and then when you are also making sure that your child is pooping properly, that's when his internal aversion, sensory issues goes down, and then his taste bud will start improving, and then his taste bud will start liking other foods. It will be easier to feed him, rather than starting by thinking, how am I going to hide vegetables in the food? You do not have to hide vegetables. All you have to do is start from the basics. Okay, start by working on the inside, and then slowly start working on the outside. So the first thing I would tell you is, straight away, based on your kid's age, if he's like 3 to 5, give 5 billion CFU, multiple strain bacteria. Okay, that's a good probiotic. Find a good probiotic that's in the 5 billion range and that has multiple bacteria. Okay, give that one early, first thing in the morning before breakfast. Okay, and then try to make sure that your child is pooping properly. Give him lots of prunes or cooked peach. Those kind of stuff helps in the letting go of the poop. And also try to give him an enema. Okay, and then try to change the spaghetti to gluten-free spaghetti. Okay, start with the gluten-free spaghetti and then go towards spaghetti that is made up of not even any grains. I have heard that there are spaghetti made up of lentils. Okay, lentil spaghetti, or you can try to use what is that thing called, zucchini noodles, zoodle maker. Make the noodles using zucchini and then just fry them like regular pasta, however you would feed them. Okay, because zucchini has a very bland taste and it's very smooth in texture. So zucchini and the regular wheat-based pasta have similar texture in their tongue. So I haven't seen much of aggression towards that. So that's how you can shift the food-wise. If you want to change the food-wise, first change the wheat-based product to gluten-free products. Okay, just make this simple shift from today. Change all your grain-based product into gluten-free grain. Okay, rather than using wheat, use gluten-free grains such as rice, or what else, amaranth, there are quinoa, stuff like that, and slowly shift that to no grain. Okay, because the best thing that I have seen working is no grain, no milk except ghee, butter and yogurt. Okay, we do gluten-free brown rice spaghetti. That's cool. Then shift to the zoodles, because even though it's brown rice, it's still high in starch, and your child cannot digest the starch properly because his body does not have those enzymes properly. Even we adults, we cannot digest grains that much. Okay, that's the reality. But we think, since we are pooping, everything is going good. How about your own gut health? Do you have bloating? Okay, think that way, because if you are eating rice, if you are eating grains, you yourself will have bloating. Okay, and that's actually a surefire way that your gut is imbalanced and it needs a lot of probiotic. So the first thing you need to do is, along with whatever he's eating, give him a good probiotic first thing in the morning, and then make sure that there is a detoxification going on slowly shift from grain wheat based product to gluten free, and then from gluten free to grain free. Okay, and then try to find, if you really want to go for the pasta way, then try to find lentil pasta. Okay, or try to give the zoodle that I've said so far. Okay, so I think we have come to the end of our topic today. As a recap, first of all, thank you so much for staying till the end. Okay, I'm very happy and grateful to have you all here and with interacting with you guys. I have started feeling really interested in the lives because it actually gives a better approach. I can ask you guys can ask me question. I can help you in that way. I am actually loving to do the lives. Okay, so far for picky eating, there are 2 reasons. Yes, Sarah, there will be a recording to be posted. Recording will be automatically there as you go. So come back to it. I know you missed a little bit. It's okay. So come back to it later on with your pens and your journals and do some, pointing downs and all that. So the first thing you have to know is picky eating happens because of 2 major reasons: internal environment, external environment. Internal environment has 2 more problems. The first one is your child having sensory issues, and then the second one is your child having the poor muscle tone in the jaw, okay, on the jaw and the mouth area. So those 2 can be improved by improving the gut condition, by improving the digestion, by healing the gut, okay, and by making sure that there is a detoxification, ongoing detoxification going on, and your child is pooping really well every single day. And then the third point is the external environment. That is how you approach the child with the food. If you feel that I am hiding vegetable in his spaghetti, then you already know that you are hiding something from your child. You cannot make him eat something by hiding stuff. Okay? Yeah. You can see the repeat, no problem with that. I don't know why the network is, I think your side network is the problem. Anyways, so you guys can see the repeat, no problem with that. As I was saying, rather than focusing on the external environment of your child's picky eating, the first point, and which is why it's easier to change the diet once you are really focusing on the root cause, and which is what I teach to my clients, is first focusing on the internal environment. How? By 3 ways. First of all, by making sure there is a detoxification going on, and that can be in the form of green smoothie, it can be in the form of detox support, tonics, etc. The second thing is your child needs a lot of probiotic rich food and probiotic, a good supplement of probiotic. And the third thing is to make sure that your child poops regularly and a lot of amount. Okay, when you have those 3 down pat, that's when the child's sensory issues goes down, and it's easier for you to be able to feed your child properly and in a better way. Okay, and then the external environment comes, like how you are focusing, how you are bringing the food, how much distraction is there, how much time he's in the table and whatnot. So rather than focusing on how much time he's sitting on the table and what you are doing or not, focus on how you can improve from the inside. Omega-3 is very important, Amna. Thank you so much for your question. Omega-3 is very important, but you can give your child the best way. Listen, the reason why something is called supplement means it's not the main food. Something is called supplement because it's supplementing the main deal. Okay? And for the best effort, for the best effect and ongoing sustainable result, it has to be from food. So omega-3, omega-6 or 9, those are coming from cod liver oil. I highly suggest that you try a good Arctic cod liver oil, which will give your child omega-3, then brain important DHA, and all those other fatty acids that your child's brain development is needs to have all those. Okay, so that's important. But you also have to make sure that your child is eating salmon or oily fish, and as well as good fats like ghee and butter regularly. Okay, so when the internal solutions starts to kick in, that's when the external feeding goes easy. And that's how I am able to, alhamdulillah, make sure that my the children that I work with, they do not have to face months end of pickiness. Okay, usually if I would say about 80 to 90% of the clients that I work with, all those moms were able to change the diet in the first 2 weeks. Okay, and then slowly the main parts and other parts come in. So it can be done in a short span of time if you have the concrete, I would say, like guidelines on what really works, and not focusing on the external part but focusing more on the internal part. Okay, so with that being said, thank you so much. It has been an honor. I am very grateful to have you guys here, and I will have the replay back in the group, but the replay won't be there for my Instagram because I need something else to be in the replay and whatnot. So if you want the replay, if the people from either the group or the Instagram, you guys want to have the replay, if you are already in the group, there will be a replay. And if you are not, I would highly recommend you join the group, because it's not just the lives that you are getting a lot of other resources and a direct interaction with us. Okay, and you will have other moms helping you all. And with that being said, I am at the end. Thank you so much. I'll see you next Tuesday with another live, something else and something actionable. Okay, because I do not like giving fluffy, itty-bitty bits and pieces of why things happen and why you have to be the advocate of your son or daughter. You have to be the advocate. But listen, I want to end this with this one. Which one is easier? Is it easier to pave the road for the child, or is it easier to pave the child for the road? The world has about 7 billion human beings, and 1% of that has autism. They are autistic adults or children on the autism. So we are about like 75 millions of autism spectrum kids and adults. Do you think the other 6.25 billion people will change the world because of your 75 million? I don't think so. So we are not saying that we will not change ourselves. We love our kids. We love being neurodiverse. We just need to be more able. We just need to be more supported. We need our children to be able to communicate, to be able to grow speech, to be able to sleep well, eat well, be healthy, and have the most amount of possibilities for the child to achieve the success that you as a mother envision for your child. Okay? So think about it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Allah Hafiz.